What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Lions Den Sports Podcast. I'm Chase Gispert here, sports editor here with
Troy Allen.
And man, we're excited to be back. Football
Yes, sir.
season
Yes,
is
sir.
upon us. College football, and your Lions kick off in 2 days' time in Starkville against Mississippi State. Let's open it up with some Southeastern football. So let's start off with the schedule first. A lot of tough games. Why don't you take us through some of them, Troy?
Oh yeah. So we start out with Mississippi State.
SEC opponent.
That's gonna be a tough one. Then the following Saturday we got South Alabama and then Eastern Washington.
All on the
three,
road, too.
Yeah, 3 straight road games to open up the year. I think those teams, especially Mississippi and South Alabama, I think they both won like 9 or 10 games last year or something like that. So this will be a tough schedule to open up. And then first home game of the year, September 23rd, we play Houston Christian University. And then we come back for Tarleton State. So, yeah, man, it gets tough. It gets tough. And then later in the year, in October, that's when the Southland opponents start to roll in. We got UIW. That was a very entertaining game last year.
Oh yeah, I had the pleasure of actually announcing that, and man, it was last play of the game. Shout out C.J. Turner, Eli Sawyer. That was awesome. Probably one of the most famous wins in Southeastern football history.
Yep. And then we play NSU in Natchitoches. I know last year we beat them, 23-7, I think, something like that?
And it's going to be interesting. Maybe jump ahead a little bit. We're going to start getting into the roster, some of the shakeup in the offseason. But Zachary Clement, who was on second-team All-Southland performer, Northwestern State's quarterback from a year ago, he is now on Southeastern's roster. And figures to definitely get a lot of playing time. We've seen Southeastern do 2 quarterbacks. Last year it was Cephas and Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like to me, really what we've heard out of camp, not a whole lot separating the two, and the way Coach Selfo's done it the last few years. Even Cole Kelly before his breakout year in the COVID year, and then 21 he was just the guy. But in 19, I know him and Chase and Virgil split a lot of time. So Southeastern faithful, no stranger to the 2 quarterback system. I expect both Eli, who's more of a pocket passer, has a really good arm. Not that Clement doesn't. I mean, we saw at Northwestern State, he played against us last year. He's got a very good arm as well, but he brings more in the running game. So definitely going to be interesting there. And yeah, the schedule for sure. You got to say UIW. It was us and UIW in the media polls. Well, I think we edged them out by a few votes, I want to say.
Yeah, it was very close.
But that's going to be the toughest conference game of the year, October 7th away. Mississippi State, like you said, just to make sure, SEC Network at 3 o'clock p.m. this Saturday in 2 days' time. Tune in to watch the Lions kick off the season, see what they could do against an SEC opponent. But yeah, like you said, Troy, at South Alabama, that's going to be tough. I believe they were a 10-win ball club last year.
Yeah.
Eastern Washington, I want to say they were 3-7 or 3-8 last year, but they're still a very they've been on top in the FCS, a good program. Cooper Kupp went there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I believe they won a FCS national title earlier, I want to say 2013, around that time. But, I mean, it's been within the last 10 to 15 years. So they're still a respectable program. Making that trip to Washington, that's going to be tough. But, yeah, we come home against HCU, Tarleton State, like you said. Those should – I mean – nothing in the Southland's given. Those should be wins. UIW is going to be tough. Lamar's homecoming. At Northwestern State, that's going to be interesting to see how Zach and his former teammates interact. McNeese is always a tough game.
Always.
At A&M Commerce, this is one probably some Southeastern fans may circle. I mean, they upset us last year.
Yeah, they did. It was what 31-28 last year or something like that?
On homecoming. That was a tough loss, so definitely going to want some revenge. And then, of course, the Riverbell Classic
and
at
this
home
time,
against Nichols last game of the year.
As you said, it's our home this year. So last year we're going to go there. This year they're coming to us.
Right.
So happy to see that. Definitely. All right.
And then, so let's get to the transfers. First off, Troy wrote an excellent piece on the outlook for football this season. Y'all go check it out. I'm sure we could link it in the bio. We'll get one of our gurus on that. But anyway, so Southeastern in the transfer portal era, it is at an FCS school. I mean, it is tough. We did lose some key pieces, probably most notably Zy Alexander. He was a two-time All-Southland performer at cornerback. He is now at LSU, so congratulations to Zy. I mean, obviously, we wish you were still playing in the green and gold, but that's big time playing for LSU. Probably going to start, I believe, from what I've heard or read in the news against Florida State, and definitely going to play a lot, so that's huge for him. Jack Henderson, another All-Southland performer. He's actually should be on TV tonight. He's at Minnesota now. They play Nebraska. I think that's on Fox, I want to say, at 7 p.m. if anybody wants to go watch that one. But Gage Larvadane, another All-Southland performer, Miami, Ohio, the receiver and kick return specialist.
Had a good year last year.
Yeah, he did. I did a piece on him when he was an incoming freshman, and yeah, he's definitely another loss. Lost the starting center, Dime Sarapeglia, another All-Southland guy, went to Central Michigan. And then the last notable one that I had was Bryce Cage, defensive end, went to Texas State, who actually, G.J. Kinney, who is UIW's former coach, he is now at Texas State, so he'll be coaching Bryce there. But we did bring in, on the positive note, we brought in Harlan Dixon. Yep. Got a little North Shore flavor, not too far down the road. Slidell, running back, was at LA Tech. Mm-hmm. Now him and Rodeo Graham, you would presume, would be the 1-2 punch they're going for this year. Obviously Zach Clement, we mentioned him at quarterback, big get. Xavier Hill from Kennesaw State at receiver should help to fill that void left by Gage. And then we brought in Harvard safety Victor Tadimi. Excuse me, Victor, if you're watching this and I mispronounced your name, my man, apologies, but he figures as a veteran presence in that secondary after losing Zy, and also Furlando graduated, arguably the best corner Southeastern's ever had.
100%.
Pick six leader in Southland Conference history. Believe he's in the XFL now, so best of luck to him. Love to see the former Lions ball out. But
exactly.
Yeah, and then Donald Clay from SMU, he played at where was it, John Eyre? I mean, that's a powerhouse high school program in Louisiana. So that was all the shakeup this offseason. Troy, how do you kind of see this all shaping out? And what's your prediction for the Lions this year?
Oh, yeah. So I think we're going to be like right around the same in terms of record. I think we're going to be right around the same. I like the 9-4 record. That Mississippi, the first two games, I can see us losing.
Yeah, those are tough.
But I think we'll bounce back versus Eastern Washington. I think we're going to win our first two home games of the season. Mm-hmm. And then I can see us possibly losing to UIW on the road.
That's going to be tough.
And then we're going to rip off, I can see us ripping off just a nice little stretch to end the year. Like Lamar, Northwestern, McNeese, Texas A&M, that's going to be a close one. I think that's where our fourth loss comes. And then we'll beat Nichols to end the end of the year. So, yeah, our guys going 9-4. Much like last year, we started off 0-2. And then we just ripped off a huge stretch and stuff like that. So I think it'll be similar to last year. Eli and Zach, I think they're going to do great things at the QB position this season. Expecting Maurice to step up as well. So
yeah, Maurice Massey.
Yeah, most definitely. That's how I see things shaking up.
I agree. I mean, I don't have anything much too different. My prediction. Mississippi State SEC opponent, hard to pick a win there for Southeastern, but I'm certainly going to watch it on SEC Network. See if we can hang in there and give them a little scare, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
And just kind of see. I obviously reigning Southland Conference champions. Also, shout out Coach Selfa, man. He's done such a good job with this program since he's been here. So, Mississippi State, obviously, that's going to be a tough game. South Alabama, another tough game. Quality ball club on the road. Probably going to start off 0-2. Eastern Washington, to me, that's the huge game. Like for like FCS program, 2 top FCS programs going at it. On the road in Washington, can't imagine what the travel's going to be like, having to get used to the West Coast if they'll go out there, a few days earlier than usual for a road game. But, yeah, that one's going to be tough. I think if Southeastern can win that is a huge confidence boost to avoid starting off 0-3. That's going to be huge. ACU and Tarleton State, again, nothing is a guarantee winning the Southland, but on paper at least, the Lions are far and away better than both of those squads. Should be 2 Ws to open the year at Strawberry Stadium.
Games too. ACU is a green out game. Tarleton's a gold out game. So
right on. And UIW, that's going to be tough. I'll be honest, if I had to pick right now, I'd pick us to lose that game. We've struggled to beat UIW the past few years. Obviously, last year was tremendous, beating them on the last play. I thought we outplayed them. I mean, they were good. They made it to the semifinals and barely lost to North Dakota State, who's a powerhouse, as we know. But, yeah, it's going to be tough. They do have a third new head coach in 3 seasons there. They're going to have to replace Lindsey Scott and some other key contributors. So, I mean, really could go either way. It'd probably be a shootout like it usually is. Lamar for homecoming should win that at Northwestern State. That's going to be tough. Remember, people forget last year they were in first place until they had to play us and UIW, and they lost both of those games. But then again, they're not going to have their quarterback, Clement, who's now going to be suiting up for the green and gold.
Exactly.
But still, all those Louisiana matchups in the Southland Conference, nothing to play with. A lot of rivalries going on. Some of the games are a lot closer than they should be, both ways, depending on. And that goes for Northwestern State, McNeese, Nichols. I mean, last year, well, I would say it was an example against Nichols. We wound up blowing them out, but it was close in the first half. River Bell Classic. Nichols was having a bad season overall, but we wound up pulling away. But you never know. McNeese is always a dogfight. So
exactly. But heading into the quarterbacks real quick, we talked about Clement earlier transferring from NSU. He put up 3,713 yards last year, or in the starts, 23 touchdowns. Also ran the ball a little bit too, 9 rushing touchdowns. And then even going back to high school, he won the All-District MVP. That's crazy to win that offensive MVP. He had 2,000 yards, 36 touchdowns. He was crazy. He was crazy. So I think that's a good pickup. I'm happy.
Definitely talented quarterback room for sure.
100%.
And like I said, both kind of bring different things to the table. Sawyer more of a pocket passer. Not to say he can't move. He could be nifty at times in the pocket and run when he needs to. But Clement definitely more of an athlete, but could also sling the rock. So should be exciting this season. Also, I'm looking on here. I mean, this can't be said enough for Coach Selfo. Just the type of program he's built here in Hammond, America. Southeastern has advanced to the second round of the FCS playoffs in 3 of the past 4 seasons. Also, one of only 3 teams to be nationally ranked in the final FCS Top 25 poll each of the past 4 seasons. So that means we finished ranked each of the past 4 seasons. Only 3 other programs. I believe it was North Dakota State. Maybe I think it was either South Dakota State or someone else. But I mean, that's elite company. Because those programs have really run the FCS. So Southeastern really kind of becoming. Hopefully we can go back to back, but it's been us and UIW recently, but really almost becoming the premier team in the Southland Conference, the premier program. We'll be tough sledding early on with at Mississippi State and South Alabama, even Eastern Washington, but we'll see. I predict probably 7-4, 8-3 regular season record, and then we should make the playoffs. I know UIW got an at-large. Given the tough non-conference, might have to string together some Southland wins, but they did that last year.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I predict. I mean, should be I think we can repeat for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We were picked by the media too. Got league leading 17 all Southland preseason picks for players, which leads the conference. A lot of talent. Man, yeah, go Lions.
Yes,
that's
sir.
all we can say.
Sir.
Line up.
That's all we can say, man. That's all we can say.
So let's transition to fantasy football. I know, man, I don't want to say I'm addicted to it, but I play
too much.
Yeah, a little too much.
Too much, man.
But I've played for years now. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
I'm in 3 leagues this year. Got my last draft actually this Saturday. Mm-hmm. I know you played as well. We talk about it.
Yep.
So let's jump into it first with some sleepers and breakout candidates. Rattle off some names, Troy.
All right, so for breakout candidates, we do have George Pickens. I think he's in for a huge year. He's gonna take that wide receiver 1 role, and he's gonna run for it, man. He's gonna be great this coming season. And his chemistry with Kenny Pickett is already amazing. So Pickett to Pickens, look out for that this season. Elijah Moore, a great receiver, number 2, next to Amari Cooper. And I think he's due for a good season too. And we saw last season that 2 receiver number 2s had a great year. Jalen Waddle played next to Tyreek Hill.
And T. Higgins.
T. Higgins played next to Chase. And Devonta Smith played next to AJ. So being in that wide receiver 2 role could be very beneficial towards Moore. So I think he's in for a great season. Garrett Wilson linking up with Aaron Rodgers, that's going to be great. I've seen people saying he could enter top 5 talks by the end of the year.
I could see that, certainly for fantasy points
100%.
Perspective. I remember, you can't complain about Olave, the pick by the Saints. He's been a stud too, Ohio State teammates. But I remember I was kind of wanting us to pick Garrett Wilson. He was my top receiver who I felt in that draft. But Olave, they go hand in hand, both studs. But yeah, I agree with that, Troy. I think Garrett Wilson is in for a monster season.
100%.
With Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball.
And this is a bit of a real sleeper because I've seen some articles saying now I'm gonna bring up Debo. I know 2 years ago he had that huge historic season, but last year he was hurt. His
McCaffrey
numbers
kind of
took over and stuff like that.
Some of those Russian plays that they would run for him.
Yeah, people are thinking he's gonna not do too well in fantasy. But I don't know. I think he's gonna have a repeat of what he was in 2021. I honestly do. I'm expecting him to be great in fantasy. I'm expecting him to put up those great counting stats and stuff like that. And we do have Calvin Ridley as well, coming off a year suspension.
Yeah, for sports fans.
Missed
the entire season, man.
That's tough.
That was tough.
That's tough. But he's linking up with Trevor Lawrence, who. I would say he's close to being top 10.
Yeah, he's borderline elite. He's definitely.
Exactly.
I'd say he's top 8 quarterbacks in the league.
100%.
And he's coming into his own. Jaguars, man, they got an exciting future young core of players led by Trevor Lawrence.
And what Lawrence was able to do in the second half of that season, and then overcoming that 4 INT game versus the Chargers.
Right. And in the playoff,
So
coming back, was it 20? How many points? 27.
It was 27. Oh,
yeah, they had a crazy comeback in that wild card game in Jacksonville.
Some Andrew Luck stuff, man.
And they played the Chiefs. I want to say they only lost. Was it by 1 score?
It was
they played the Chiefs tough in Arrowhead. So.
Yeah. It was by 1 or 2 scores, something like that. But I thought Lawrence played well. Had it not been for that drop by Kirk early in the second. I think he would have, especially with Mahomes' injury. I think it would have been a lot closer. But so I do think Ridley's in for a big year. But do you have anyone else you want to add to?
Yeah, you mentioned his name actually, Devonta Smith. You could say he broke out last year. He's been really good ever since he's been in the league. That Alabama connection he's got with Jalen Hurts. But also, I'd like to say too, Tangipahoa Paris, shout out, went to Amite High right down the road. or up the road, I should say, about 30 minutes from Hammond. Cool to see local products making it big
Yes,
in the
sir.
NFL,
Yes,
being one of the
sir.
best receivers. But yeah, I mean, AJ Brown's obviously bona fide stud, but Smith's making his case for one of the best number twos in the league. And AJ Brown, I saw an interview recently. He was like, I mean, we're really 1A, 1B, or we're both ones.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, Eagles they could make it back to the Super Bowl and win it. They're loaded again. He's one of mine. I had Garrett Wilson. Jahan Dotson's one on the Commanders. Out of Penn State, he was kind of hurt for a good portion of last year, but he was a touchdown machine. Not the biggest guy, more of a deep threat, but I really obviously got Terry McLaurin, but I see Dotson coming into that number 2 role.
Yeah.
And I think Sam Howell's going to surprise some people. I think he was really impressive in college in North Carolina. I'm not saying the Commanders are going to make the playoffs by any means, and they'll probably have a losing season. But for fantasy purposes, I think he'll be serviceable enough to support both McLaurin, but specifically Jahan Dotson, who I have as a breakout candidate. I got Olave. He really was a stud last year, offensive rookie of the year, but I expect him to take it to the next level and really solidify himself as one of the best ones. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler at the end of the season. Brandon Ayuk, maybe kind of going not necessarily against, but your Debo pick. I think Debo will have a good year, but I'm looking for Ayuk to really break out. I know Kyle Shanahan loves. He talks highly of him. Niners really, I mean, that offense is ridiculous. The weapons they have at their disposal. I got Cam Akers with a bounce back. It might be a little risky. Yeah. Rams, since the Super Bowl, it's just been it's been a mess.
It's been a mess.
Best to say the least.
They went all in, but hey, they got a ring for it.
Right.
So not many teams can say they got a ring. You know what I'm saying?
True. But yeah, Cam Akers, I think he'll bounce back. We'll see. Now that's a volatile one. Pursue at your own risk, but I think he'll have a bounce back. Tony Pollard, I picked him last year. He was Zeke's backup. Overtook him as the first string in Dallas. He's explosive. Really good talent.
Really efficient.
Now that he'll be the lead back, some people are worried he's a little slider frame. Can he take all of the touches? We'll see, but I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't pick him in the second round for sure. And then Calvin Ridley said, last one I have kind of a sleeper is Jamison Williams, former Ohio State and Alabama receiver. He went crazy with Bryce Young, I think 2021, and then unfortunately blew his ACL out against Georgia in that national championship game. But last year, I think he played the last few games, kind of showed some flashes, but now this is going to be his first full season since that tremendous campaign he had at Bama in 21. He is suspended, I believe, the first 6 weeks due to sports betting. Yeah. Man, the gambling. Roger Goodell's bringing the hammer down on that. But
he is.
I would draft him. I drafted him myself as one of my last picks, kind of in the post, like around 11th, 12th round, just kind of as a bench stash. But I really do believe doesn't have much competition for that wide receiver 2 role behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Goff had a really underrated year last year. I think he's serviceable enough, veteran. I think Williams is explosive. Amon-Ra is kind of, almost like a Michael Thomas-esque with the over the middle, short intermediate. He thrives. Doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, but Jamison Williams, I think, will take the top off. And that's one of my picks. So let's get into rookies now, Troy. So my biggest one, I think the most obvious, he's been going in the first round, is Bijan Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of him on the Falcons?
That's the Falcons, they love to run the football. And that's what they were last year. They were one of the more efficient offenses.
NFL team, I think they ran it over 50% of the time.
Exactly, and that's going to be the same case heading into this year, especially with Bijan. If you look at what he did last year at Texas, 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 yards per carry.
I mean,
crazy.
The numbers. Crazy. If you just watch a few plays of him in college, I mean, he's the truth.
Exactly. He's nuts. But I also want to talk about Jordan Addison, too.
Yeah.
We just mentioned, wide receiver number 2s having breakout years. I think he's in for as well. I think he and Justin Jefferson, they're going to be a great 1-2 punch. And I can really see Addison really breaking out, having like around 1,000 yards this coming season, really being that fantasy sleeper for many people. So yeah, most definitely, I gotta go with Addison as well.
I definitely agree with that. And you got the best receiver in football taking the defense's attention.
Exactly.
So should have, I mean, not to disrespect the corner 2 on any NFL team, obviously. I mean, anyone in the NFL is an amazing player, but Addison, the rookie, former Biletnikoff winner at Pitt in 2021, balled out with Caleb Williams last year at USC, but I definitely think he'll splash as a rookie. I'd pick him in the middle rounds for sure. Another one, rookie wide receiver JSN. Now, this is a bit more risky. A lot of people felt he was just purely the most talented receiver in the draft. He was hurt a lot at Ohio State, but if anyone saw that Rose Bowl game a couple years ago, when Garrett Wilson and Olave were out, I think he had over 300 yards.
Yeah, you went crazy,
Utah.
man.
It's ridiculous.
The only thing is touches, because you got DK, you got Tyler, so you just don't know how many touches he's really going to get. but regardless, he will be efficient whenever he does get targeted.
And the talent is there. I could see him second half of the year, kind of maybe taking that 2 role from Lockett. I do like Tyler Lockett a lot, but man, I mean, Seahawks got 3. They might have the best receiving core besides them and the Bengals.
Yeah, I think
legit 3 really good players. So keeping it with rookies, let's go with 2 guys. Mention Tangipahoa Parrish. Mead and Devontae Smith. Let's go with Kentwood. Trey Palmer, former LSU player, had over 1,000 yards at Nebraska. I think he was all Big Ten a year ago. I want to say he was a 5th or 6th round pick, but I know the Buccaneers, I mean, they could be vying for the first pick. I don't think they're going to be good, but for fantasy football, I mean, your team could be 0-17, but you could still have a guy put up points every week. So, I know they got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, the 2 veteran presence, but Baker Mayfield threw at least 1 touchdown to Palmer in the preseason, kind of building a rapport. He was really flashed his skills. Could see that. It's kind of a late-round flyer. Tank Bigsby's another one. Former Auburn running back, tore up the SEC. Behind Travis Etienne with the Jaguars, but Etienne's kind of had some durability concerns. Wasn't healthy for much of last season. I could see in a stacked Jaguars offense. I also have Tank Dell, Houston native, played for the Houston Cougars. The Texans, I mean, they'll have some growing pains for sure, but I could see the rookie C.J. Stroud and Dell being a viable maybe flex option later in the season. Now, these are players like you would draft, but obviously you're not going to start in the first few weeks. They're more second half of the year that maybe can win your league type of players.
Exactly.
Speaking of rookie connections, I like Bryce Young this year. I wouldn't draft him as my starter, but I like him as a backup and possible streaming option. And rookie connections, Jonathan Mingo from Ole Miss, rookie receiver. Really, I mean, big, physical, can run. I think he ran a 4.4 at the combine.
And then they still have Cheval too. And then I know they brought in Adam Thielen.
DJ Chark as well.
Exactly. So that wide receiver room, although it's not perfect, it's still better.
It's not proven, so that's why I think Mingo could splash.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson.
I think he's gonna have a good year.
Yeah, I do. He wasn't accurate at times, but definitely for fantasy purposes, with his running ability. I mean, he's such a freak athlete.
Yeah, those dual threat quarterbacks were strong. I mean, just got Fields,
gold mines for sure.
What Fields last year? I know he was amazing last year in terms of fantasy stuff like that. So I think Richardson's gonna come in right away and be the exact same. Something like he's basically. I think they call Richardson like another Cam Newton, and we all know how great he was in fantasy.
Right.
So.
And who could? I mean, that 2015 year MVP, he was legit.
Crazy.
Also, let's say this is going to be our 3rd Tangy player from this parish. Man, why are these people not coming to Southeastern? But Tajay Spears from Tulane, Ponchatoula alum. Shout out to him. He had a crazy season at Tulane, man. Lit up the Cotton Bowl. I believe he had 4 touchdowns against USC. Really talented back. He's going to back up Derrick Henry in Tennessee, but, I mean, you can't bet against Henry. He's almost superhuman in the way he's performed. He's 6'3", 240. Y'all know the whole deal with him, but Spears definitely the RB2. I think he solidified that in the preseason. Showed his skill set. He'll definitely be on passing downs. I think present and get the play on third downs. More of a better pass catcher, I think, than Derrick Henry. And Henry, I mean, obviously you don't wish injury upon anyone, but durability, he has been a tank, but he's getting up there in his late 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's led the NFL in carries multiple years. Coach Vrabel loves to pound the rock in Tennessee. I could see Spears. He's definitely a good bench stash, for sure. And then to round it off, Jahmyr Gibbs, first-round pick on the Lions. I think they got David Montgomery from the Bears, but I think Gibbs, a lot of people are comparing him to Kamara. I could see him having an Alvin Kamara 2017 type of rookie campaign.
Oh, yeah, I think
and the Lions are
easily.
Kind of like the Jaguars, two franchises that have been kind of not good, to say the least, this century, but both of them kind of young offenses, got some pieces. I could see that. Another one, Zay Flowers, receiver for Baltimore. A lot of people raved about him out of Boston College.
Nice. I think he's gonna be nice, man. Him and Lamar, I think they'll have a good connection. It sucks saying that as a Steelers fan because we got to play him twice a year. But
that division, the AFC North, that is tough.
It's tough.
Every team could be above 500.
So.
Then another one, Quentin Johnston, first-round pick out of TCU by the Chargers. They do have, obviously, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, really good 1-2 punch, but both of them have injury concerns the last couple, really multiple seasons. It's like one of them's healthy, the other one goes down, and then they come back, the other one gets hurt. So Quentin Johnston had on TCU's really Cinderella run to the championship. I know they got waxed by Georgia, but still impressive. He was a big reason why. Stud receiver, big body, fast, can do it all. So I got him. Another one, Dalton Kincaid, another first-round pick, tight end for the Bills. Dawson Knox in front of him, but they spent a first round draft pick on him for a reason. I think he'll come into his own, take that tight end one role, and in one of the best offenses in the league for the Buffalo Bills. And you got Josh Allen slinging you the rock. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you want to, we can go into place to avoid.
Yeah.
So again, obviously, this is just like predictions and stuff like that.
Yeah, if they wind up being good, don't come for us. We warned you. But in our opinions, these are players to avoid at their ADPs, their average draft position. We don't think will perform to what they're being projected to be drafted at.
Yeah, so basically, first we got Mike Evans. Yeah. Obviously playing with Baker Mayfield. Very, obviously Mayfield is like better than like the average person. Like compared to NFL players, he's in that very mid-tier quarterback range. So I don't know how he's gonna perform with Mayfield throwing the ball, and then he's getting up there in age too.
Right.
This is his 10th year.
I think, and I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all can in the comments. I'm almost positive Mike Evans, I think he's the only player in NFL history to do this. His all 9 seasons in the league, he has gone for over 1,000 yards. Yeah. So it was tough putting him on here. He's a fabulous player, multiple All-Pro talent, but he's getting old, like you said. You go from arguably the GOAT Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. No disrespect to him, but. Yeah, exactly. It is a big drop-off. Buccaneers probably arguably going to be the worst team in the league. Yep. It's going to be tough. I just don't feel he's being drafted as a wide receiver too, and I think you'll be lucky if he'll put up flex numbers consistently.
Yeah. And then we also have players like Christian Kirk. Obviously, this is a surprise since he's coming up with the best year. But then you got Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, he's just coming back. Going to take that one role from him, it looks like.
Yeah. And then another really hot take is probably Dak Prescott as well.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott coming off the worst season of his career, 25 touchdowns, which isn't bad in 12 games, but 15 interceptions.
Right. And I know he promised, it went viral on social media because he threw a couple picks in practice, I think, the Trayvon Diggs. But did he say, I promise you I won't have double-digit picks this year or something?
Yeah.
And how social media is. I will say, I know there's a lot of Cowboy haters out there. I feel like he is overhated because he plays for Dallas. I still think he's a good player, but he is a little inconsistent at times and has been turnover prone. So if you're drafting him in fantasy to be your QB1, I would be a little cautious And I'd probably draft a quarterback, either sooner or make sure that you have some sort of insurance policy.
Exactly. And do you want to anyone else? Or,
Yeah, probably wrap it up here soon. Also, let us know. Y'all comment down what you want to hear next. We're going to be talking a lot about Southeastern, obviously, specifically football. We know there's a lot of fantasy fans out there, but y'all comment what y'all want to see in the next episode as we kind of wrap this up here today. But let's see. I have Christian Watson as one. He's uber talented. Struggled with drops last year, though. He's going to be should be unchallenged as the wide receiver one in Green Bay, but you go from Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love's talented, but unproven. Only has one career start. Going to be a new era in Green Bay. So Watson is being drafted as a wide receiver too. A lot of people are liking him. I don't think it's the talent. I just think it's the situation. Inexperienced quarterback. He's still inexperienced himself. Not sure how great the Packers are going to be. So I got him. Another one, Kadarius Toney. He scored in the Super Bowl last year. I mean, if you watched his highlights in college at Florida, I mean, he was unbelievable.
Insane.
Just human joystick. It's just with Mahomes and the Chiefs, it's like, even if you look at Juju had a solid year for PPR last year, but Kelsey's a monster, as we know, but it's kind of like he spreads the ball around so much, and they haven't had a wide receiver one since Tyreek Hill's left.
Yeah,
it's kind of just been, pick your poison.
Wherever's open,
right?
It's Kelsey and then
I know Mecole Hardman had a few nice games. He's at the Jets now. Valdez-Scantling, he'll get like 30 randomly one week and get 2 5 straight weeks. So you just never know what's going to happen. I don't think the targets will be there for Toney.
Exactly.
Not to say he's not a good player and won't have some success this year, but from where he's being drafted, I don't see it. Gabe Davis, another one, wide receiver 2 in the Bills. I was all on his train last year. He burned me. Yeah. He's Mr. 30 points or 3. You never know what you're going to get.
And that's how it is in real life, too, because he went off against us, the Steelers. He went off against the Steelers, and then he didn't do anything for the next couple
He'll
of weeks.
catch an 80-yard bomb, but then he could go 3 or 4 weeks without breaking double-digit fantasy points.
Exactly.
Let's see here. Who else I got?
Deshaun Watson, too.
Deshaun Watson struggled last year when he came back. Now, it's kind of for me, a cautious bust. I would be skeptical about rolling with him as your quarterback, because that's what people are kind of picking. The people who wait for a quarterback strategy, if you don't get one of the elite ones, they're cool with Deshaun. It could work out, but it's a little volatile. I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely risky. He could either be really good or he's going to be
belly flop.
Yeah. And then we did mention Najee, too. Najee last year, he did play through some injuries. Mm-hmm. And then in the back half of the season, he did turn it up. I think he was averaging like 5 yards per carry last couple of games of the season. So, but, you just don't know. But we did beef up the offensive line. So I am expecting Najee to be more consistent, to be more efficient this coming season. So we'll see for that. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, we don't know what's going on with him. Yeah, you just
don't know. He's on the PUP list.
Yeah.
Physically unable to perform, so he's going to miss at least the first 4 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. Colts, probably going to struggle. Rookie quarterback.
That's if he stays on the Colts.
Right, even if he does, he could hold out and pull a Le'Veon Bell.
Exactly. And we all know how that went whenever Bell came back.
Right.
So
that's definitely someone that's going to be tough to draft that you probably want to avoid in your best interest. Now, Najee, I will say, big Steelers fan here, by the way, for clarification, but I think they're in for a good year. But Najee, I picked him on one of my teams, so you could say we're both biased, but I think he'll have a solid year. I think he'll be a low-end RB1, high-end RB2 type of season. He was getting a lot of hate last year. Steelers' O-line was banged up. He was playing through injury himself. Now, I know Jaylen Warren, he was an electric rookie last year, showed some flashes when he did get in the game. He couldn't eat into Najee's receptions on third down, which could be an issue for PPR. I know he had like a long touchdown run in the preseason. Some fans are saying, he needs to start over Najee. I think that's nonsense. They spent a first-round pick on Najee.
Exactly.
We watched him in college at Bama. And his rookie year, I think he was a Pro Bowler, correct? So, or close to it. So, Yeah.
Gotta play the first round pick.
Right.
Gotta
And
play
then
the first round pick.
our final thing, can't forget the Hoodats, the Saints.
Oh yeah.
Just give you our prediction. Try to keep it brief, but I got us going 10-7, winning the NFC South, which is pretty much the worst division in the NFL.
Yeah,
Not complaining as a Saints fan, but I think that's going to help us out. We might be the only team above 500 in that division. I got us going 10-7, winning the NFC South. Yeah. I think Olave is a Pro Bowler. I think Michael Thomas regains some of that magic of his former self. The running back room's maybe as strong as ever since we had Ingram and Kamara. You got Kamara. He is suspended 4 games, but should come back healthy and fresh. Jamal Williams led the league in rushing touchdowns with 17 a year ago. Great addition.
Sanders record too.
Right. Barry Sanders, yeah. And then Kendre Miller, 3rd-round pick out of TCU, exciting back. The defense has been solid under Dennis Allen, right? One of the easiest schedules in the league.
I mean, you guys opened up with Tennessee, Carolina, Green Bay, Tampa. New England might be a toughie, but then you got Houston. Jacksonville's also pretty tough. But that those first 4 games of the year,
I was specifically the quarterbacks that we faced.
Yeah, you faced Tannehill,
the 2.
Bryce, I don't know. Bryce Young, he's a rookie. He's a rookie. I think he's going to be a stud, obviously, in the future. Yeah. But right now, he's a rookie. Rookie seasons are often up and down. Mm-hmm. Then you face Jordan Love, unproven, and then you face Baker Mayfield. So you face 4. No, I'm saying 3. You face 3 mid or below average quarterbacks. With a Dennis Allen-led defense.
Right.
So you could be looking at 4-0, maybe 3-1 to start the year.
Hopefully a fast start for the Saints faithful. Go black and gold, baby. Yes, and to wrap it up, I was looking at the schedule. Really, the only elite or close to elite quarterback on the entire schedule is Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
when we play the Jaguars. And I think, is that in the Dome, that game?
Trevor Lawrence?
It's in the Dome, so...
Kirk Cousins,
Dome Field, Kirk Cousins
I
also.
Call him elite.
Daniel Jones, I think, would play the Giants. But, it's a lot of mid. But besides them, those are the best quarterbacks you're playing. It's a lot of mid-tier to rookies. And then in the division, I mean, it's kind of no disrespect to Derek Carr. He's been a journeyman. I think he's a solid quarterback, not great. I think he'll play well. He's got a lot more help on the Saints than he did on Oakland.
Yeah.
Or I say Oakland, they're Las Vegas now, but
that's true.
Kind of a dysfunctional franchise. Saints, I think he'll be good. 2 legit receivers, running back core. Tight end room is deep. Mm-hmm. I think he'll have a good year, but he is the best quarterback in the division, I think.
Yeah, because you got Desmond
Ritter.
Desmond Ritter,
Baker
Mayfield, and then Bryce Young.
That's pretty rough.
Young's unproven.
I like Young and the potential, but year 1, the expectations are kind of tempered. Desmond Ritter, year 2. I'm not too crazy about him. They run the ball a lot, and then Baker Mayfield, obviously.
Below
he's been up
guy.
and down, and he's had some lows as well. So
I'm very familiar with Baker Mayfield. Below average.
Playing in the Steelers division there in the AFC North with the Browns. So. Anyway, that wraps it up for the Lions Den Sports Podcast. I'm Chase Gispert.
And I'm Troy Allen.
And thank y'all for being here. We'll see y'all next week. Take care.
Sure.